Welcome back to the box office, where I give you insight on upcoming bouts, upcoming boxing fights, to help you purchase your ticket and become part of the action. Today, I want to talk about one specific fight, and that fight is the Vasyl Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez coming up. Um, and this fight is very intriguing for many reasons. For one, you have two fighters that are kind of at the top of their game. Lomachenko is a little bit older, went pro at an older age, and Teofimo is kind of settling in and finding out who he really is as a boxer. Now, when you take a quick look at these odds, you're gonna see that Lomachenko's a favorite, and he's a favorite by a lump sum of money. He's a minus 335, meaning that you need to bet $335 in order to win $100 back. Teofimo, on the other hand, is a plus 255, meaning you bet $100 and you get 255, meaning at the end of the day, when you go cash out, you'll walk out with 355. Uh, Now, first things first, are you willing to put $335 to win 100 betting on Vasyl Lomachenko? The more you think about it, is the risk worth the reward? Uh, yes, Lomachenko is, the more experienced fighter. He is a fighter that is a favorite, and he is the one that just went with Luke Campbell 12 rounds. He actually had a impressive win against Jose Pedraza, who just fought this weekend against Molina, and he looked very well. But with that being said, is he worth the risk? Meaning, as a sports guy, you're trying to wager some money on this. Is the risk worth the reward? Now, here's one way to look at it. Simple answer you can say is no. No, you never bet the money line if it's over 300, 200. There's no point there. And I agree. At some point you got to see, okay, 335 for only $100 is not worth it unless you absolutely know this guy's going to win. And even so, you're really not getting much back. Now, on the other hand, Teofimo Lopez at plus 255 fighter, you start looking into that. Does he have a realistic chance of winning? Everyone has a chance at winning, but when you take a look at it and dig deep into the bigger picture, let's look at Teofimo's resume now, right? His last fight was about with Richard Kame, and that fight was a very, very impressive fight. He kind of adjusted, timed him, hit him with the right hand, and was able to stop him. He dropped him, got up, then he stopped him. Now, something to look at is that Lomachenko has been hit with a similar right hand against Linares, and he was dropped. Difference is he got up, put it on Linares, and stopped him. Okay, so keep that in mind. He is there to not necessarily there to get hit, but he has been hit before. So Vasily Lomachenko, hi-tek, is not invincible. Okay, he's been hit before, and he's been tagged up. Now, the consistency, the amount of times he's been hit, you really have a small sample size of where he's looked vulnerable in the ring. This guy's footwork, head movement, his pivots, the way he positions himself, his distance, everything is top notch when he's fighting. Now, how can Lopez capitalize that and make our 255 worth it, or our 101 255? If you look at it, to be honest, I'm gonna take a scroll down Teofimo's resume. After the Richard Kame fight, he had a 12 round unanimous decision win against Nakatani in the MGM in Oxon Hill. He had knocked out Edis, he knocked out Diego Magdaleno, knocked out Mason Menard. Now, he does have knockout power, but what makes this fight very interesting is that he's you don't know what we're gonna get from Teofimo yet. He's a very talented fighter. I know he can pop, he can crack, he can knock you down, he can knock anyone down with the right hand. Okay, but is he going to be able to catch someone at that's fighting at Lomachenko's level is another question. Keep in mind, this is a 12 round fight, and Lopez has been the distance, but when he hits someone, he's used to seeing a lot of these people fall and not get up. Whereas Lomachenko has proven he's been able to get up. Um, so, do you really think that he'll win a decision? It's gonna be tough. Can he outbox Lomachenko, the guy that's outboxed everyone his whole career? Let's take a look at Lomachenko's early fight. He fought Jose Luis Ramirez, won by knockout. Then he lost to Orlando Salido, a split decision. Salido's a rough and tough guy, very, very opposite. I don't want to say opposite, but very different than Teofimo Lopez. Do not expect a, grinded out phone booth with Teofimo Lomachenko. Okay, that's just not gonna happen. Salido is a different breed. He's a different type of fighter. He's a different type of beast that you have to deal with. Lopez, he likes to counter. He likes to, pick his shots, pop shot. Some would say maybe flurry and move out. It looks very pretty doing it from time to time when he hits you. Sometimes you can admire his work because he's used to seeing these people fall, right? Now, Lomachenko, on the other hand, has been in some very tough chess matches. If you look at his third fight, it was against Gary Russell Jr., and that went to a majority decision. Now, I personally think it was, I don't know what went on with that judging, but that kind of catapulted him where he won another unanimous decision, went 12 rounds. Then he knocked out in the ninth round, 10th round, 5th round was a knockout. And he's just been deep in the deep waters. And he's been there, with some stiff competition. Anytime you go, 12 rounds, 10 rounds, 8 rounds, but with the likes of like Orlando Salido, Gary Russell Jr., you have the edge in experience and you know what you can go through and what you've been through to get to that moment against Teofimo. Teofimo, on the other hand, before that Richard Kame fight, he was looking spectacular, but he was looking spectacular in what could possibly be scripted fights. Not necessarily that they're scripted, but they were made for him to look a certain way. And he did look that certain way, which is why we are here. Now, would Top Rank love it for Teofimo to win? They wouldn't mind. And the reason why I say that is because Teofimo's only 23 years old, whereas Vasyl Lomachenko is already well into his 30s. And not to say that he's old, and I say well in his 30s at 32 because boxing, it's a little different. It's a different sport than baseball, basketball. All right. So with that being said, is Vasyl Lomachenko or Teofimo the one to go for? Well, we're going to talk about the dogs, right? The underdogs. So if you're going to bet on the underdogs, you guys can take a look at that guy right there. If you're going to bet on that underdog, which in this fight is going to be Teofimo Lopez, I personally don't like the money line. All right. And the odds aren't out yet. So I don't know if there's any prop bets to see if, what round, how many rounds, if it's going to go the distance. Maybe a Lomachenko by unanimous decision would be better than a Lomachenko money line card. We don't know that yet. But what we do know is that Teofimo Lopez is a plus 255 fighter. All right. Meaning you bet 100, you get 255 back. Teofimo is extremely talented. He has that one knockout punch power that I would be a willing risker of that. So much so that when the prop bets come out, I would bet that he would knock him out because I think he has a better shot at knocking out Lomachenko than winning a unanimous decision. Just because we know Lomachenko's been in chess matches with like the likes of Gary Russell. He's been in grind him out fights with the likes of Orlando Salido, and he's been through the trenches, hit the canvas, and got back up and finished that fight against Linares. So my best bet is that Teofimo lands something like he landed against Kame, and he's able to finish Lomachenko and doesn't let him recover. That's what my bet is going to be for this fight. I need to look at the odds once the fight gets closer, but that is one way to bet on that dog up there, which in this fight is going to be Teofimo Lopez. All right. So keep in mind, keep a lookout, keep an eye out for the prop bets coming out, and keep in mind and keep, just an eye out for Teofimo Lopez prop bets by winning by knockout, because usually when you get specific, the odds increase. And if it's going to be an increase about, let's say $100, $350, you put in 100, you put in two, all responsible wagering, may I add, and you can come out with 700. Now, is it going to happen? Very unlikely. I mean, Lomachenko is top of the line, pound for pound, one of the better fighters. But if there's a risk you're willing to take, for me, personally, it's that one opposed to a money line where I know Lomachenko has that experience factor. So for me, betting on this dog right here, which in this fight is Teofimo, plus 255, odds might be 350, 450. I'd be willing to put at least $50, you know, something small. Make the fight entertaining. That's how I'm gonna go about this. Teofimo by knockout, technical knockout. That's the bet. That's not what I think is gonna happen. That's just the risk I'm willing to take for this fight. All right. Once again, Teofimo by technical knockout, DQ. No, technical knockout or knockout. None. Just that the fight won't go the distance, but Teofimo will win. That's my bet. That's my risk that I'm willing to take for this fight specifically. Odds are going to increase dramatically, and they're going to be changing as the fight gets closer. But I just feel like if he does catch him, that's his best chance to finish the fight. Don't let him recover. Don't try to outthink this man. That's the risk I'm willing to take. All right. So that was a quick one today. Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. Remember, you can always scroll to the end of these segments where I'm giving you about the dogs or my bets, so that you guys can see what my picks are. My pick is Teofimo by technical knockout. That's just the risk I'm willing to take, opposed at the money line that I see here, or betting 350, 335 for Lomachenko to only win back 100. All right, guys, take care. This is me, Jonah, from the box office. Take care. We'll see you on the next one. We'll be talking Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Leo Santa Cruz, Gervonta Davis, how to bet for those fights, and the Charlo brothers are coming up too, and I'll show you my bet slip for that, and then we'll get a little tracker with where I'm at on boxing, with my bankroll that I've made through all this. All right, guys, take care. Teofimo by knockout. Heard it here first.